Welcome to Hypercar Global, the channel where we take a look at electric vehicles, Tesla and of course Elon Musk. Today we take a look at Tesla's new battery production line for the 4680 cell production along with Tesla's mineral report. Without any hesitation, let's get into the video. Tesla's 4680 cell production process outlined in GIGA Berlin's revised filings. Tesla's revised documents for Gigafactory Berlin have been posted online, and they are a treasure trove of information. The documents provided some new details about Tesla's planned 4680 battery plant in Gigafactory Berlin, which Elon Musk noted is on track to be one of the world's largest battery production facilities. They also outlined how Tesla's 4680 cells are produced. While sections of the filing pertaining to the planned 4680 battery cell plant in GIGA Berlin were blacked out due to sensitive information that could not be made public, the documents show some important tidbits about the upcoming facility. This includes the facility's cell production operations over 4 floors, with anode and cathode production on the first floor and tabless cell production on the third floor. The battery plant is massive, requiring large foundations similar to Gigafactory Berlin's Phase 1 zone. Most importantly, Tesla also submitted a simplified diagram of its 4680 battery cell production process, though most of the diagram was blacked out in the revised filing's public release. However, the company provided a brief overview of how its new battery cell will be produced in the upcoming facility, roughly translated through Google Translate. The battery the Gigafactory Berlin requires special systems and process steps. The anodes and cathodes consist of coated current collector foils. Copper is used as the material for the anode foil and aluminum is used for the cathode foil. The anode and cathode components are manufactured in mixed processes, A02001 and A02002, which only use materials in powder form. The new materials used are tested and approved in our own laboratory, A02011. In order for the powder coating to adhere to the two films, they must first be pre-coated with a thin layer of adhesive substrate, A02003 and A02004. This substrate is delivered in containers. The pre-coating is necessary because a dry coating with powder takes place. After the anode and cathode components have been mixed, they are applied as a coating to the respective substrate-coated film in order to establish electrical contact, A02005 and A02006. The current collector foils, coated with the anode or cathode components, result in the finished anode or cathode. The revised filings also provided a general idea of how Tesla's tabless cell production works. Among these is the fact that the finished 4680 cells would be subjected to 10 days worth of curing after their formation. The anode or cathode is then cut to the required lengths with a laser in the tabless process, A02008. The anode, the cathode and the separator are alternately placed one on top of the other and rolled up into a roll. This roller is then inserted into a metal housing, which is manufactured from steel rollers in a die cutting and deep drawing process, A02007. In the assembly area, the final assembly and filling of the cell takes place with small amounts of electrolyte, approximately 10% of the cell weight, A02009. The electrolyte is absorbed by the electrode coatings and enables the lithium ions to move back and forth between the anode and cathode. The housing is then closed with a lid in a welding process. The last step is the formation, A02010, of the cell. In the formation process, the cell is electrically started up by charging and discharging it under different temperature conditions. The finished cell remains in this area for approximately 10 days and is then put to further use. The cells produced are subjected to random quality control in our own laboratory, A02011. A look at Tesla's conflict minerals report. Last month, Tesla released its conflict mineral report for the fiscal year ending on December 31, 2019 and emphasized the importance of sourcing only responsibly produced materials. This means having safe and humane working conditions in our supply chain and ensuring that workers are treated with respect and dignity, the company said in its SEC filing. Tesla's conflict minerals policy. Some common myths surrounding Tesla and mining include the idea that Tesla is using child or slave labor. Tesla ensured that it obtains the minerals in its products humanely and that it doesn't use child labor, slavery, or human trafficking. Although Tesla's suppliers obtain many of its minerals, Tesla has emphasized that they must be DRC conflict-free. This means armed groups in the Democratic Republic of Congo, or any adjoining country, such as those utilizing slave or child labor, do not benefit from Tesla's purchase of minerals. In the filing, Tesla shared what these conflict minerals are: columbite, tantalite, tantalum cassiterite, tin gold, wolframite, tungsten, and any derivatives of the above. If these minerals do not benefit armed groups within the DRC or its adjoining countries, then they are considered conflict-free. Tesla suppliers are required to establish policies, due diligence frameworks, and management systems consistent with the OECD due diligence guidance for responsible supply chains of minerals from conflict-affected and high-risk areas, OECD guidance. The company also expected its suppliers to stay up to date with and use validated conflict-free smelters and refiners that are assessed by the Responsible Mineral Initiative, RMI, and similar organizations. Tesla recognizes the importance of mining responsibly and in a way that contributes to economic and social opportunity and development in the DRC region. Suppliers are allowed to source from the DRC or its adjoining countries, so long as it is from validated conflict-free sources such as smelters recognized as conformant under the RMI's Responsible Minerals Assurance Program, RMAP. Tesla's human rights policy. Tesla stated that it is committed to ensuring that slave or child labor or human trafficking isn't happening within its supply chain. Although these types are slavery or crimes under state, federal, and international laws, it still happens. Tesla has a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to slavery, though. Tesla does not, and will not, tolerate the use of slave or child labor in the manufacturing of its products and does not, and will not, accept products or services from suppliers that engage in human trafficking in any form. Tesla ensures that its suppliers are in compliance with its expectations, code, and policy along with applicable legal requirements, and in order to do this, it is committed to the following. Continuously evaluating our supply chain to address any risks related to conflict minerals, human trafficking, slavery, and child labor. Reviewing suppliers' practices to ensure their compliance with Tesla's policy. Requiring our Tier 1 suppliers to certify that their materials incorporated into Tesla products comply with the applicable laws related to conflict minerals, slavery, child labor, and human trafficking of the country or countries in which they are doing business. Disciplining contractors and appropriate parties who fail to meet the requirement of our code and policy, including potential termination of contract. Ensuring appropriate Tesla employees are aware of issues regarding conflict minerals, human trafficking, child labor, and slavery, particularly with respect to mitigating risks within Tesla's supply chain. Investigating if Tesla has a reasonable basis to believe that a supplier may be engaging in human trafficking, slave or child labor, or use of conflict minerals. Transitioning away from purchasing goods or services from any supplier that is believed to be engaging in human trafficking, slave or child labor, or use of conflict minerals if the supplier does not take corrective actions. Tesla's process of due diligence. Tesla's conflict minerals process and policies aim to follow the OECD guidance, and it has several steps it takes in order to ensure this. They are: establish strong company management systems. This includes its human rights and conflict minerals policy along with the published Tesla Supplier Code of Conduct. Tesla also has a supplier manual that addresses its policies on conflict minerals while stating the company's expectations of its suppliers. Tesla also has a specialized team within its supply chain organization that leads the company's due diligence efforts. Identify and assess risk in the supply chain. Tesla has a risk identification and assessment process that starts with the RCOI process and then leverages the CMRT. Its in-scope Tier 1 suppliers are engaged multiple times during this process, and internal stakeholders are also engaged. This is to emphasize the importance of participation by Tesla's suppliers. Along with this, Tesla collects supplier data over a 10-week period to allow for follow-up and further validation. The company carefully monitors responses from its suppliers on their own internal policies and processes regarding conflict minerals. Design and implement a strategy to respond to identified risks. Tesla monitors smelter validation progress by the RMI, and the steering committee will review and take action if there are any concerns with supplier responses throughout the data collection process. Perform independent third-party audit of supply chain due diligence. Tesla fully supports the RMI, which audits due diligence activities of smelters and refiners. It supports the organization's outreach efforts and RMAP smelter audits by being a member of these programs. Tesla also has the right to ask any high-risk Tier 1 supplier to audit their supply chain conflict minerals due diligence program using a third-party independent auditor. Let me know your opinion on Tesla's conflict minerals report in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you are new to the channel, why not subscribe? This way you support the channel. Turning on bell notifications let you know when we upload so you never miss a video.